Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing Addicted After All, which is the last book in the Addicted series for Lily and Lo. I'm super excited to start this. It is a pretty thick one, but I plan on getting through this pretty fast because I'm just really excited to see how everything turns out, because the last book ended on a happy note, and I'm excited to see how they close out the story of Lily and Lo. Now we still have a couple more extended books in the Calloway sister series for her sisters, and then obviously the last book, which is everyone's perspective in one. I'm really excited for that book too. I think that's probably going to be one of my most favorites. But for now, let's get started on Addicted After All. Okay, so at the beginning of this series, Lo was a hothead, someone who could tear you down in a matter of seconds with his words. He doesn't really use fists to fight. He tear you down verbally and want to retaliate no matter what. If you went against him, if you went against his friends, his family, Lily, he was going to come after you no matter what. I get it. Lo Force is taking a step forward and unlatching from me. You want to scare them as badly as they scared your little sister, but you retaliate and you're provoking them even more. I breathe deeply. This is a new Lauren Hale, one who has learned from all of his mistakes, one that understands right and wrong and every gray, messy part in between. It's a better Lauren, the version of himself he has been fighting for all along. I'm so overwhelmed by his proclamation that I have to quickly wipe tears before they appear. He has grown so freaking much, and even though I had the hugest smile on my face at the end of the last book and the end of Hothouse Flower, because it had shown in the book that he had grown up a lot, and he was able to, a weight was lifted off of his shoulders, and he was able to accept things. And now he's not just free from those burdens, but he's also growing as a human being and as an adult and making smarter and correct choices and not just acting out of anger and out of impulse. And that is very impressive and amazing, because you can see the physical and the mental and the emotional growth that is happening with this character. And if you follow along from the beginning, you can see where he was then and then how he is now. And it's really cool because he's like a whole new person, because that's not the Lo that was in the first Addicted book. It's not. At the end of Hothouse Flower and also at the end of Thrive, Reich and Lo's father promised to do something, and so far he's still doing it in this book. So not that much time has passed, but as far as we know, it's still going really well, and I'm really hoping that it stays that way, because I said that every parent had redeeming qualities in this series except for Daisy, Lily, and Rose's mom, and everyone else did. These last two books, we have seen that change in Reich and Lo's dad, and hopefully it lasts and it doesn't go back, but we're having some nervousness right now because they're having a meeting set up with just the four of them with him. Rose and Connor are not included, so it has something to do with them as the family. I'm sure it's about, but makes me a little bit nervous to find out what it's about. But hopefully it's nothing bad, because they've been through so freaking much. But we also know that there has to be some kind of challenge or dramatization and hurdle that they have to go through in this book. So I wonder if that meeting is what starts that hurdle. Afraid to hurt my feelings, I tell her. I can take it. That's why she always holds back, why everyone walks on eggshells around Lily and me, afraid they'll fracture us like we're glass dolls. I'm past that. All the damage has been done. You can't break something that's already been broken. That is very true, and although I don't have much context to add to that little couple of sentences, I will say that it sucks when you're put into a situation where people don't feel like they can be completely honest with you and they have to sugarcoat everything because of a situation that's happened to you, or just because that's your personality or whatnot. There's a way to be respectful and honest and not sugarcoating or not saying, like, giving your opinion when asked for it on a subject. So I feel that little tiny paragraph right there, I believe that that's really true. It brings me even more that I fear losing something that I never wanted to begin with. These feelings are crazy. I get to experience every fucked up emotion without a crutch. No Maker's Mark, no Macallan or Jameson. I think I'm okay with that, even when it hurts. Again, I am so freaking proud of him that he literally just said he doesn't need a crutch, and he's about to experience something that it's life-changing, And it's really good, but it's also life-changing, but it's also something that he never wanted, and feeling all these new feelings about it. And it's really sweet to see that he's completely changed, like did a 360 about it now that it's happening, and it just shows how good of a man and person that he is. Okay, so this is a good and a bad thing. So the thing that Lily and Rose get to do together, which I think is really cool but also scary, her sex addiction, and I'm really nervous that she's gonna have a regression in this, and she's chalking it up to hormones. From my own experience, I had the opposite effect of what's getting her when I was going through the same thing. Her sex drive has heightened and my sex drive depleted. So that's very, very scary to deal with when you are a sex addict. So I'm nervous that she's going to regress and backtrack a lot in this book and not even really realize that she's doing it until it's too late. And that's scary because this big thing that's happening in their lives is going to come sooner than later, and she's going to have to be dealing with this addiction on top of this life-changing thing. Well, that happened pretty quickly. That was like, I always thought, like I was always nervous that you can see in real life it actually happens with paparazzi and stuff causing car accidents, but I didn't think that was going to happen, and it didn't happen that way. And I wasn't expecting it whatsoever because the authors kind of just slid it in there really freaking quick. Like you just turn a page and it's like, boom, there it is. There was no couple sentences or a paragraph leading up to it. It was just boom. And I'm like, wow, okay. God, I'm so freaking nervous. The accident wasn't that bad, but there's other situations going on at the moment, and I think everything's going to be fine, but I completely understand that kind of fear in that situation concerning what it's concerning, because being there myself, so I completely understand that, and it is nervous, but I think it's also going to show how much that even though this was not part of their plan and this is not something that they necessarily wanted or ever wanted, it's happening, and they're feeling that love. Sucks that this happened, but I'm glad that it did, because I think it's going to open up a different side, and we get to see more into their internal thoughts and what they're thinking about the situation at hand.
Y'all, I get trying to be the bigger person. I get the fact that these are teenagers who were probably just like you when you were the same age, and I know that low self in these guys, or at least in this one guy, but I don't give two fucks. I know that probably calling the cops or the parents or whatnot will make it worse, and I've never lived in this kind of situation. I've never been a part of that world where money, fame, and like Gossip Girl world and all that stuff, I've never been in it. So I don't know how it works, but I know that they do, even though it's fiction. This is getting dangerous. I mean, they damaged their home. What they did is illegal, and they can go to jail for it. But they're not going to call the cops. I mean, they may this time. I really don't know. But at this point, they're getting more bold. They're doing things that could physically hurt them, and they have to think about more than themselves in this situation, because they're not children. They are adults, and it's not just them that they need to protect. If you get my gist, I'm sure that you probably picked up on what I've been putting down in the last book and now this one, but it's more than just them now, and I think they need to realize that. And I'm not really sure, like I said, if calling the cops or their parents will make it worse or not, but at this point they've got to do something, because especially a couple months from now, when it's all real, what's gonna happen then? I've heard it before. I say I can deal with it. I don't need right to threaten these guys on my behalf. I have a louder voice than him anyway. I've always been capable of lashing out. This is the route I've never taken before. Wait and see. Be calm. Try to put my emotions aside to find the better option. Are you sure? Rick asked me, his eyes flickering to Lily on the bed and back to me. They're not going to break our fragile hearts into little pieces, I say dryly, so no one needs to contact a realtor. We're not moving. Everyone's lives have changed too many times because of outside forces. This house is supposed to be our stability, and these teenagers aren't going to take that away. We've lost way too much already, which I completely get and I completely understand, and I really don't know how they're going to resolve the situation. And it sucks because I'm nowhere near as mean or cruel or angry of a person as Lo is, but the fact that he's letting this shit go, I tell you that I could not. So he's a stronger person than I am right now.
I have a feeling that this book Addicted After All is going to be surrounded by mainly Lily's addiction. In Thrive, it was Low to get back on the wagon from his, and I think in this one, Lily's struggling really hard with her sex addiction, and I believe that it's caused by a lot of the circumstances that are going on with her physically and the changes in her hormones and stuff with her body. I think that it has to do with that. Doing really well and on the road to recovery, and now because her sex drive has become even more intense than it originally would be for a sex addict because of the changes, it's just becoming 10 times harder. Like literally anything turns her on. It doesn't matter who it is. She literally said that the Mr. Clean bald old guy turned her on a bottle, and now she's terrified because the one person that she swore and has never ever turned her on actually makes her dry. Her own words, just turned her on, and it freaked her out so intensely. And then same with Connor, also just accidentally, like she's not even trying, just these images pop in her head and it just kind of happens, and she's so embarrassed, and she feels the grossest she has ever felt in a long time. I'd disappear into my room with Lily and try to get her to a better place than the one she's at. I hate that she's anxious, and I hate that she's scared of herself. And I recognize what just happened, that she became aroused from someone other than me. It's not a new development. Different is that she's starting to let her addiction fuck with her mind, affect our relationship. I won't let anything tear us apart, especially not something we've both been fighting for so long. Thank you, Lo. Thank you. Once upon a time, I think I would have let him. Not anymore. He deserves his paradise, so I'll fight against my brother. I'll fight against Lily and Daisy for this position. The winner is the loser, and the cage has my name on it. Oof. We found out what the big issue was, and it's nothing to deal with, it indirectly deals with the press and the bad, horrible rumors and how they're looked at in public, but it's more personal, the real issue. And out of the four of them, no one wants it. Like, that's not something that they ever really wanted to do, but out of all four of them, Lo is the one that knew that someday this was gonna be his legacy. This is what he was raised to do, even though he really doesn't want to do it. He just didn't realize it was going to come at this point. And now that there's 3 other people in the mix that could possibly do it, and they don't even have the choice on who gets to be it. It's not them that gets to choose, but they all have to try and prove themselves. And now all of them are going to try their hardest to get it because they don't want the other 3 people in their group to have it, because they don't want them to live like that, like he literally just said. The winner is the loser. Wow. I didn't see that this was going to go in this direction. Watching someone you love in pain and not being able to fix it, it's agony that I don't wish on anyone. Oh, I feel so bad for Lily for what she's going through. I know we've been here before in the other books in this series, but for some reason it's just hitting differently now. A big issue that was in the last book that they were lying about, the blacklist and everything, we get to hear kind of like a resolve from it, which is what I was really wondering about previously. We've taken small steps throughout the years, like blank blank. Her therapist actually approved of it, though she scolded us for lying in the first place and not admitting that we'd been doing it long before. We were in the wrong for the lies. I think we both recognize that. Now we're free of them again. I love that. The fact that we get closure from what happened in those books, in that book, because I had no idea what was coming out of it, what was resolved, because I love closure. I don't like open ends. I've never really liked open ends, so I'm glad that gave us that. I love Connor so much. He's an arrogant asshole, but he's very, very, very mature, and I think that he's really good for the 2 brothers and honestly the entire group. He brings a sense of control into the group, and he brings reason into the group and makes everyone stop and think about their actions, they say, before it's done. And it is so freaking smart, and I love Connor for that so much, because I think he brings so much to this group of 6, and without him in it, I'm not going to say they'd fall apart, but I think it'd be a lot harder for them, and it'd take a lot longer for them to get to where they are now if he wasn't there. They're bored teenagers, he reminds me. The more attention we give them, the more likely they'll return. We just have to be patient. I know it's hard for you, but you have to ignore the impulse that says confront them. I nod, staring fixedly at the ground. He's right. It's a waiting game. Which really freaking sucks, and I wish I had the control that Connor has and the control that is rubbing off on him to Lo, because I would be so pissed. Much of what I'm saying about Lo and how much he's grown, Lily is seeing that too. Like, she's mentioned it, but now she's literally describing that she can see it. Thrive was his setback, and now Addicted After All is his I'm stronger than I ever was before story. It's the I recovered and I am in a place where I've always meant to be. Soul swells at the look behind his eyes, at the resolute, unbending expression he carries. Lauren Hale is ice. Resilient isn't a word attached to him. Beneath fire, he loses. Reich is the one who outlasts him. He's stone. But there is something more within Lo right now that defies this. I reach out, my fingertips grazing his smooth skin along his cheek. I have feelings swirls inside of me, one where you know someone all your life, but in a singular moment they look strangely different, like you're unearthing a fragment of them that has never surfaced or been touched before. I see it, a piece of him uncloaked and unburied that has been hiding all this time, strength that has never realized he had. Smiles through his eyes. You don't look unsteady anymore. Softly I say, you're a man. His lips rise. You're just now realizing this, Lily? It's just, you seem older. I breathe stronger, able to withstand things that the world throws at him. Time will do that, he murmurs. No, I whisper, it's not time, it's something else. I inhale like our bodies have bound together, melded to him with no plan to separate. His eyes glow with realization, sensing what I mean. He's not frightened of me or my addiction or his own. He has rebuilt every ounce of his self-worth that his father took from him. Thank you, Lily, because without, I love that we get to see her realization in this book, because it's not just you coming up with your own, thinking in your head, oh my god, he's changed so much. You actually get to see how the characters see it as well, and that means so much more. You guys, the image of this, the nostalgia is so real, and I love this. I am so sentimental, and this, oh my god, this brings back so much. You remember how we began Us? The memory strikes me powerfully, and tears suddenly begin to brim. We were on my parents' yacht, this room, almost 4 years ago. We were both 20 and broken and struggling to find a semblance of peace, and then he uttered the words that changed everything. Let me try to be enough for you. You remember, Lo breathes, his thumb brushing a stray tear. It was here. My voice is a whisper. He nods. It was here. His then, he says, I was so addicted to you. He truly smiles. A very, very rare one. I still am. I love them, and I love that part because it is so nostalgic, and it brings me back to the beginning. And although the beginning was hard, that moment when they became two, they were officially, it was no longer fake dating, it was no longer hiding from their families, it was them two against the world. And in that moment when they first started, it taking me back there is just, I love it. It's everything. Oh, Lily. He is grinning, his eyes full of knowing. Yes, Lauren Hale, you are enough for me.
Before I run on my own, I need a crutch. It's either Reich Meadows or a bottle of booze, and I can't let it be the latter. So this is what I have to do. Please say yes. He rises to his feet, and I do the same, my heart thrashing in my chest, and then he grabs my hand and hugs me, setting a palm on my back. Okay, he says, let's do this together, little brother. The situation freaking sucks. But I'm glad that Lo is becoming a lot more self-aware, and he's not letting his fear get the best of him. He's choosing a healthy way to get around it. And even though the situation is not ideal, he's doing it in a way that is better than he would have chosen in the past. So what Lo is thinking right now reminds me a lot of the labels that were placed on them for the Princess and Philly reality show. But he's thinking it in his head, and they're a lot more accurate, but obviously wouldn't be said in public. Too conceited, Rose is too high-strung, Daisy is too wild, Reich is too aggressive, Lily is too awkward, I'm too hateful, Sam and Poppy are just right. And I wonder if they're the ideal we should all be striving for, or should we just accept our nature and continue as we are? Everybody changes, they grow, so I don't think those labels are going to be them forever. A deep-seated part of them that some of these labels may be a part of them forever to a certain extent, but I don't think that these labels should define them, because even Lo has shown that he's not as hateful as he was in the beginning. He has shown a lot of empathy, actually, in this book compared to what it was in Addicted to You. You know how I said Connor has to be a part of their group? He can slice through arguments, lowering boiling points, and keep our friendship intact, not even remotely awkward after we just kissed. And he's a part of my life. Thank God. Or rather, thank him. Yeah, I smile. He'd want me to rephrase that. It goes to show that Connor is a very integral part of their group, and even Loaf says it to himself in his mind, written in the book. So we got to see in the other bunks irate paparazzi, and we even got a little bit of the paparazzi in the beginning of this book, but mainly it's been focusing around irate fans or haters and just the general public, and not just actual, I guess, paparazzi doing their jobs, even though doing their jobs is extremely dangerous, and there's a way to do your jobs without doing it that way. That this is becoming extremely dangerous, and they're on vacation for Daisy's birthday, and they're having a good time. Guys just completely ruin it, and it's been off and on all day with the boys, and it just finally like snapped, and a full out fist fight brawl happened, and I'm like, this is not okay. That's be more than just them, and is going to be even more dangerous, and that really, really sucks. And yes, just because they're in the limelight for the millionth time does not give anybody the right to give their opinion to their face to them without it being asked for. You have no right to say degrading words to them. You do not know them. They did not do anything wrong to you, and because you're bored or you hate your own life and you think it's going to be fun, or for whatever reason you have to do this to another human being, says a lot about yourself. And I just can't believe this happens. And I know this happens in real life, and I feel so bad for it, and I know there's nothing that I can really do about it, but reading it and feeling like you're sucked into the situation, that these people that it's happening to are really close to you, that's what it feels like, and it sucks that there's nothing that you can do. But I will say that the end of this freaking chapter, literally right after this happened, something good happened too, so it kind of brightened it. So even though they're hurt physically and emotionally, hell, even mentally, but Lily and Lo were able to find some good out of it. It happened in the right exact moment. So thank you to this sweet little thing for doing this for them, because they needed it. And this part is heart-wrenching, because these guys that were tormenting them all day and yelling nasty profanities were doing it all in Spanish, and Lo had no idea what they're saying, so he's begging Reich and Connor to tell him what they were saying, and they tell him very, very hesitantly, but they do, and what they're saying is about Lily, and it's things that we've all heard before, things that Lily's heard before, but the fact that it hits so differently because people feel like they can just come up to them and say these things to their faces, and not just behind the mask of media. So much more real. And Lo is hearing all of these things, and hurts him to the core. But what's coming out of this that is great is that instead of going down to his deepest low and drinking alcohol, he's taking this and he is deciding to go another route. No armor can block out this pain. No booze this time. And I remember almost 1 whole year ago, I heard defaming words about me and my father. I slid to the floor. I reached into a cupboard for a bottle of Glenfiddich. I broke my sobriety for the first time, and I never got off the ground that night, not on my own. Being in the media, I've learned to live with the hurt, stand up, and move on. It's what I'll do now. It's what I'll do tomorrow and the next day, for however long this fight goes on. Just stand up, and I rise slowly to my feet. Heavy and shackled with weight, I still move.
Oh, I really, really like Jonathan Hale at this exact moment, because this whole fight, after everything happened, they're back on the boat and their parents are interrogating them and sending them down like, what the heck happened? This shouldn't happen. Why did this happen? And Sam is Poppy's husband, who's the oldest of the Calloway girls, and they're not really much in the books. They're not part of the core 6. Sam pipes in talking about how he didn't help the fight, whatever, and he was going to help Poppy, but bodyguard was there and she really didn't need help, and the bodyguard attests that. Jonathan pipes in after Sam says something really dumb, in my opinion. You look after the family, Greg says. My family is Poppy and Maria. Greg quiet, silently upset. Truthfully, I've only ever heard him yell at Sam and Reich, but this time he enacts his usual I'm disappointed in you look and stays still. Jonathan takes over. Your family is everyone in this fucking room, he retorts. We're all bound together one way or another, and there will be a time when you need him. He points at Reich, or him, he motions to me, just as they needed you tonight. So you want to be a selfish little fuck and paddle out on your own little lifeboat and leave everyone else to drown? So be it. You do that, Samuel, because when the rest of us are carrying life jackets, we won't throw you one. I love that. Yay. I mean, so Lily had a little embarrassing spout at her meeting. That's going to decide this decision that these the four of them are having to, try and get. She had an embarrassing moment here. So Reich brings her some clothes because Daisy calls him because everyone else is at work. But Lily also thinks that Daisy called him because Lily has been ignoring him for months now, because she has become aroused by him and is, PDA. And I even know it's normal because I can see random couples on the street and go, wow, that's hot. I want to do that with my husband. And it doesn't make you gross. It doesn't make you nasty. Just kept thinking that she was because she was seeing it that way. And I think a part of it has to do with the fact that it's Reich and all the preconceived notions about them and the three ways and her being with him, I think just added on top of that, even though she's ignored them since the beginning and she knows that it's not true. Knowing that she felt attracted by him even a little bit due to hormones, it put a really bad taste in her mouth and made her think that she was just a horrible, nasty human being, which she's not. And her and Reich finally were able to talk it out. She admitted it, and Reich and Daisy both gave her a reaction that she was not expecting. It was very empathetic, and they completely understood and were trying to explain to her that it's completely normal, which for a sex addict, obviously Lily doesn't know what normal is for regular people because hers is always on overdrive when it comes to anything that's sexual. So I'm very happy that they got to work that out and they talked it out, and now she's like, oh, okay, I don't feel gross anymore. Okay, I feel more like a normal person. So I'm really glad that she was able to squash that, and that's one less stressor on her shoulders. She was able to understand that and now be able to face her closest friends and her family without having to hide behind herself. I let out a deep breath. I think so. I doubt I'll feel good about being aroused by their makeout sessions, but at least I know that it's not the biggest regression on my part. I just have to believe that it's okay. Willow always says, and I'm just happy that my hormones may go back to their usual level. At least I hope they do. Good, I fucking missed you. He did. Maybe you should pee your pants more often. He almost smiles. This is the Reich Meadows I know, and yes, I love him too. Lily roots for Reich and Daisy. Each part of her is doing it because she knows that she has affected Daisy's life in a negative light more than a positive one with her sex addiction going public, and she knows that she's altered her future. And obviously all of her issues came from that sex addiction going viral. So I feel really bad. So I know that Lily feels really bad about that, and I think that's a huge part of why she feels so strongly about Reich and Daisy and wanting Daisy to be really happy and stay in this relationship, find all the happiness in the world, and that it's so stinking cute that just the way that Lily is, Lily in herself is just the cutest person ever. Like, she's an adult woman, but she's the cutest adult woman in the entire world. The things she says, sense of humor that she has, just her body language and her reacting to them and their first fight is just freaking hilarious. Y'all, I have no words. What just happened in this limo? Just know that the limo is a very significant part. It's an integral part of their core 6, and it will be for the rest of their freaking lives. What just happened in this limo is the biggest thing that has ever happened to them ever. And out of everything that they have gone through, for me to say that is huge. Now, mind you, this is just the biggest part of one of their lives. I'm going to read you what Connor said. This is the best and most terrifying day of my life. He inhales a strained breath, his eyelashes wet with tears. Connor has never freaking cried before, as far as we know, like in front of people. That group, first time that Lo and everybody else, it was in Lo's perspective, got to see him be emotional, masks and everything off of his face. Like, he wasn't hiding any emotion. It all came out. And oh my God, all in a limo. I am so freaking happy for them. I know that it was like terrifying in the moment, and it was a lot, but it's so freaking exciting, and I can't believe this happened, and I'm so happy. And you guys, just know that a limo is a very, 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 very exciting part and addictive after all. Okay. I'm not letting our parents talk us out of something we chose together, something we truly love. I hate that they have to taint it with their opinions anyway, but there's a place inside me that's grateful for having people who care, for better or for worse. That's what family is for, right? That little sentence right there that Lauren says, I resonate with so much, because the same situation that they're going through, I was in a very similar one with my own family, and even though I appreciate their opinions and stuff, it still hurts, especially when it comes to something this big, when it's about this specific thing. Having someone else's opinion that, like he said, taints what your opinion was or what you chose or what you wanted, and it doesn't align with what they might have wanted, it hurts, because it's like, it's so hard to explain without giving it away, although most of you have probably already figured it out. But just that sentiment is so very true, because you love your family, but just like when you get married to someone, you stay with them for better or for worse, because marriage is hard, just like family is hard, but you love them all the same. This right here, you can't look at me like that. It's driving me insane, and I can't do anything about it. He says I have this adorable happy glow that makes him want to straddle me, but I have no sexual urges for maybe the first time ever. I'm sore down below, and the thought of something hard sounds too painful to consider, and thankfully my hormones are even back in check. I knew it. I'm so freaking happy for her, because she struggled so hard with her sex addiction, and like she literally just said, she has had no sexual urges for the longest time she can ever remember, and that is a huge step for Lily. And I'm really hoping that after going through this experience, she's not going to, like, the stress and stuff that comes with it, that she won't backtrack any. I'm hoping that happens for her, and I'm really excited, because I kind of predicted, like, I was like, everything should go back to normal, if not change into a better way after this happens, and I think it's getting there, although we still have a lot more of the book left to go. I'm about halfway through it. Just my horny older brother, Lo says with a bitter smile. We weren't screwing. It's the first thing Mike says. His gym shorts are slightly askew, and he lifts them higher on his waist. His hair so disheveled that I can tell a girl ran her fingers through it. His lips are pink and raw, like he's been in one serious makeout session. I break into a huge grin. This image does not turn me on in any way, shape, or form. I love my hormones again. Yay! Go Lily! And this is freaking everything, because Lo stand the thought, and just being so freaking uncomfortable with the thought of Reich and Daisy together, and now hearing these words come out of his mouth. You two are so adorable, Lo says dryly. Please return to the pantry. Never thought those words would come out of Lo's mouth. A huge conflict that's in this book is, again, pitting Rose against each other. Media and paparazzi and people just trying to get any kind of information they can about them, taking a photo and then taking it completely out of context, when they actually don't even have it in context to put in it. All they have is a photo. They don't know what's actually going on, and they're just speculating, and they're putting things in there, and it's basically fake news, because they're trying to get a rise or actually get real information by putting this out there. And maybe they are getting real sources, and they haven't alluded, or they've somewhat alluded to it, but haven't given us proof that is actually the case yet. But this is really, really sad if this right here actually did happen, because it does stoop to a very, very new low, and again makes me even more pissed off about the girls' mother, the one person that I said has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, and it's again being proven here if this is true. Y'all, Rose's version of camping is my kind of freaking camping. I want to be in this scene with them right now. She hired a person to put up a fancy tent in the backyard with a fuzzy rug laid out over the grass, complete with plush pillows and a small table for sliders and macaroni and cheese takeout from a 5-star restaurant. Lamps are staked in the ground, and Rose has sprayed something that might be magical. Not one mosquito or bug has ventured into our territory. It's a perfect setting for a girls' camp out, and I already love it. Being pampered in the outdoors is much better than swatting flies. I completely agree. I have been real camping before, and it was really, really super hot, and I hate being sweaty, and I hate feeling nasty, and my hair is very fine, so if it gets wet or I don't brush it or don't have conditioner, it gets disgusting. And I had it in a braid the whole weekend that we did it, and it was so knotted by the time I came home. It was gross because we were swimming in the lake, so that was not fun. But this kind of glamping, I think glamping would be my thing.
This is everything a hothouse flower was that no one realized until after the fact. Reich is a good one. In a lot of ways, he brought Daisy back from a really dark place. I wish that we could have been there for her, but Rose and I were dealing with blank 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 and my addiction. I had no idea.
So the not wanting to have sex after this big event did not last long. Just witnessed Lo doing stuff to himself in the shower, and it turned her on a lot, and he's really upset about it. He didn't even want to do it, but he did it because, you know, he needed a release, and he fought with himself for a few minutes on whether or not to do it, but he did it, and Lily caught him, and he went outside, and they were talking about it, and I feel bad, but she's a sex addict. It happens, and hell, you don't even have to be a sex addict for that to turn you on and want to have sex when you physically can't at the moment. So I understand that completely. I feel bad, and it sucks that men don't have to go through the same things women do, but then again, we don't have to go through certain things that men do as well. But when it comes to bodies, I will say I believe wholeheartedly that women have it a lot tougher than most men do. For the millionth freaking time, I'm re-emphasizing how much I dislike the girl's mother. She is someone that I hope to never, like this type of person, I hope to never paths with, because I might end up in jail. And now I'm sad. My anger turned to sadness. Need to make a decision, I say. It's my title, so you can all self-sabotage any day now. The edge of my voice hurts my ears. I hate it. By the end of this month, you can call me Mr. Hale CEO. We'll even have a party. I feign excitement with a small gasp. Wright can bring the tacos, and Connor here will supply the Glenfiddich. The Glenfiddich. Won't you? I don't know if it's Glenfiddich or Glenfiddich. If you know, please comment, but please don't make fun of me for not knowing, because I don't like liquor and I don't have a lot of knowledge on liquor or any kind of alcohol for that matter. So, won't you, love? The entire room deadens. The tension and silence is so thick that it's hard to breathe. I don't know why I said that. To be an asshole? Maybe it's something deeper, but everyone catches the hidden meaning behind my words. The first time I ever relapsed was by drinking a bottle of Glenfiddich, Connor's bottle. I wait for Connor to banter back and ease the tension, like he always does, but he stares off at the rug, not even looking in my direction. Come on, it was a joke, I say dryly, my ribs binding around my lungs. Connor suddenly rises to his feet, visibly upset, and he's trying hard to hide it, avoiding everyone's gazes. You'll have to excuse me for a second, he says softly, sidestepping past the armrest. Connor, I say before he leaves, I feel sick, like I might puke. It was a joke. I think if I emphasize this, he'll forgive me. He doesn't turn back, not once. Oh, I'm so sad. I can't hold back. It was a joke, Connor, I snap on the defensive. I didn't mean it like you think I did. Did I, though? I can't exactly tell. Something black is crawling out of me, slowly, eking like tar. I feel like a fucking idiot. No, screw this. You can't get upset over one fucking joke, I sneer, pain in my voice. I wish it wasn't there, so apparent. Part of me wants to forget about this and just move on. The other part knows I brought it up for a reason. It's not a joke to me, he says flatly. I let out a weak laugh. Right. Am I poking the robot? I ask him with a bitter, painful smile. Do you feel something, huh? I extend my arms. I'm your fucking liability. You should have known this day was going to come, and everything just explodes in my body. Words my father said. Why would Connor keep me around? To manipulate me? Also, he could get closer to Rose? I have no clue, and it's ripping through me to think that I could have. I carried you in my arms, he suddenly says, his eyes bloodshot. The day you relapsed was the worst day of my life. He points at the ground. It's not a joke to me. I have no memory of it. I blacked out. I choke out another laugh, only this one hurts a million times worse. Great. I'm glad we have that worked out. I have nothing else to say. Honestly, I'd like to down Maker's mark. Lo, he attaches nothing else to my name. I can't read his mind, so I turn around expecting him to leave it at that. But as I head to the door, he runs after me. Connor catches my arm and spins me around. Lo, wait. I've never seen his eyes this red before. I get it, I tell him. He carried me while I passed out, and he was freaked. His hands drop off mine, and he shakes his head. No, you don't. A weight builds on my chest, and I have to ask. I can't just guess anymore. Am I a liability to you? I clench my teeth hard, suppressing everything that threatens to overthrow. Yes, he says truthfully. I nod a couple times, letting this fact sink in. Have you manipulated me? He can tell what people need, and I choke out. I don't want to hear him explain that he pretended to be my friend. He used me. All you have to say is yes or no. It's not that simple, he tells me, a tremor in his usual Bill Wald voice. It is, I shout at him. I point at my chest. You either fucking played me or you didn't. I love you, he refutes. His gaze daggers on me. It takes me aback because Connor has admitted to only loving himself to then loving no one else. But I know that this isn't sexual or romantic. It's the kind of love that I have for my brother, the kind that Rose has for her sisters. He grimaces like the fact is hard for him to accept. Lo, I don't love many people. There's no manipulation in what I feel for you. The truth is, I gave you what I thought you needed, affection and praise, but I have no motives for it. I didn't use you for anything. I open my mouth to speak, but he raises his hand quickly. Wait, let me finish. His Adam's apple bobs. You're my liability because I love you. The night you relapsed, I thought you were going to die. He pauses, and the fact nearly crippled me. I couldn't even drive. Low. He shakes his head like he doesn't want to imagine that night. I care about you, what happens to you, and it's a weakness any way I look at it. Like your father once asked, what do I get out of it? I told him the truth. I get your friendship. That's all I want. I process his words. I didn't think he cared about me like that. In the back of my mind, I really believed that he endured my personality because of my status and my connection to the Calloways. I've tried to be okay with it. Even after years, it seemed like I gave him more of myself than he ever gave me. He's seen me at some brutal lows, and I've never seen him flinch, except maybe right now. It's like he took off some of his armor from me just to say that he loves me. It's honesty that I needed. I feel like I can breathe more easily, knowing from Connor, not from Rose, that our friendship is real. And, this is exactly what he needed from his brother, too. Like, I remember everything that happened in Hot House Flower with Reich and Daisy and their relationship, with Reich and his past and not being able to tell Lo about any of it, and then Reich and his dad and not being able to stand up about the rumors that were going around. And that's all Lo has ever wanted from the people around him, was honesty, for them to be honest with him and truthful and just treat him like he's a normal person and not like he's going to break because he's an alcoholic. And he's now getting that from Connor. People can't stand me, He laughs into $1 million groan, and most people can't take all of me. I've realized that people who can are the ones I love deeply. Is this all of you? I ask him. He nods. Yes, mostly. I can't always express myself the way that you want to see. He trails off. Anger, I realize. He won't exhale and strain breath, and then I freeze. The thought hits me cold. You mentioned my dad. Does he know? I frown, my brows pinching. I've been fighting with Jonathan because he thinks I'm toiling with your emotions. It's my fault, though. Everything. My sex addiction, going public, did this to her. The fear, the ridicule. I can't ever forgive myself for that. Anxieties continue to pile on me. I need to shut my thoughts down, but my head is all messed up. I wish it would go back to normal. I peek over my shoulder, hoping Lo will appear. I can't rely on him, no matter how much I want to. Poppy scoots on the couch and swings her arms around my shoulder. I feel so much worse. She should be comforting Daisy, not me, but Poppy gives me a sisterly squeeze. When I had Maria, I felt panicked a lot, thinking I was doing something wrong. It's normal. My brain is not normal. If she could see inside of it, she'd realize how disgusting it is. I keep nodding and rubbing my eyes, trying to take the attention off me. I don't want to admit that source of my anxiety. But sitting here, agreeing with them that my panic is a normal motherly emotion, makes me feel like a lying liar. I just need some air. Oh, Lily, I feel so bad for her. Happening right now, I can relate to on a certain level because she's being extremely hard on herself. She's still battling something that happened years ago and beating herself up over it to no end. And I'm really, really hard on myself especially when it comes to my job and a lot of these things. I don't ever want to mess up, and when I do, or I feel like I mess up, it eats at me. And I have definitely gotten better at it since going to therapy, and I have been given tools on how to not overthink and to realize that things happen and that you just accept them for what they are, you learn from them, and you move on. Some things are a lot easier for me to move on from than others. It just depends on the situation. And this one thing that's happening to Lily is so devastatingly hard for her. And I feel really bad because it involves her sisters. It involves people that she loves. It involves her addiction and the effects that on everyone that she loves, everyone that she cares about, including people that she never thought were gonna be in existence. So I feel really bad for her in this situation, and I can definitely relate to her on this level. Throughout the series, I've struggled with finding things to relate to with Lily and Lo's relationship because they are a really quirky couple, and that's just not I'm not quirky like that, but reading this makes me feel a little bit closer to her. Just scared my dog. The last line of this freaking chapter. Okay, we're going to get to that in a second. But I will say that this concern that Lily has is so freaking deep and it's probably so real for a lot of sex addicts in her situation. And I love that they put this in this book because it is another really high up there thing that could happen in real life that some people can definitely relate to on another level. Really exciting part that I love that as soon as I read the last word, I was like, what? Did that really just happen? I love how he makes me feel normal, how my brain isn't some vast, deep, filthy wasteland to him. In his eyes, I'm some kind of perfect. Do you guys know what that is? That is the title of the last book in this series, Some Kind of Perfect. That is so cool. That is so sweet. I have no idea if they did that on purpose or not. But that is freaking cool and I love it. And again, this book shows how far Lo has come. He used to not be able to face his past, and there may be some things that it's still really hard for him to face and to think about because it comes with a lot of baggage and just horrible memories that come with it. But this part right here, I can remember the past fully now. To say the words, to bring it up and relive some moments, it doesn't hurt anymore. We've both accepted it for what it is, our fucked up beginning, but it's our beginning, and no one can take that away from us. Thank you, Lo. I am so proud of you. It's like a full 360 from the end of the last book to this one, how much you've changed, how much you've grown. Now, about a year, maybe a little bit more has transpired so far from what I've read in this book from where the last one left off. And within that year, so much has changed. And I know the impact of their situation right now, how their lives have changed, that helps you change as a person a ton as well. Depending on who you are, you can let it change you or not. And he definitely let it change him for the better. Really, 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 really dislike these teenagers. And very inexperienced when it comes to certain situations that happen in life. I either have not immersed myself into them and not allowed myself. God has kept me from them. Or, I live in one place and I don't have a career or a job or have the funds to go off and do things that would put me in situations like this, to see this stuff happen to other people or to have this happen to myself. What they just did is cruel. As they say, it's fucked up. It actually indirectly could physically hurt somebody because alcoholism physically hurts you. Mentally, that's a battle he's having to fight every single day. And the fact that they just doused him in this, I'm so angry that I just have to smile because there's no words for it. There's nothing I can do. When you get so angry that your voice, like how Rose was handling the situation in her book, Kiss the Sky, with the reality show and what happened after that with what the producer did with some footage. How she handled that situation is how I have tried to handle a lot of situations in these books because I can't scream, I can't throw things because it's not going to do anything. I'm so angry that I can't do anything. Like my brain won't process it. And this is fake. This is fiction. This is not happening to anybody I know, anybody I love. It's not happening to myself. And just reading that this situation is possible, it's horrendous. The juvenile pranks, I understand. The malicious intent, I get even more. That's me. All of those teenagers are me. And I should call the cops like my father would, but how can I? It's a waste. It'll make it worse with their parents, enrage them more, and ruin their lives before they even start. This feels like my final test, to be a better person than I was. I keep waiting for my self-preservation to kick in, to say fuck you all, to tap selfish dark parts of my soul. Give a shit. I think about that young guy I held that night at the paintball shooting. Although this right here is highly freaking true, the neighborhood teenagers seem harmless compared to the psychological damage that the media can cause. That is so real, it's not even close to funny. That happens to people every single day. And that is a huge thing that this series centered on. I have not finished reading this, So I don't know what the ending's going to be or her mother's response. So I'm really excited to see this, and I'm also really nervous because I'm not prepared for her mother to say anything remotely good in my eyes, because she's never ever done or said anything good in my eyes for anything that she's done so far. But Lily is finally facing her mother, and it started off because of a situation that I'm not going to relay. You'll have to read the book to start the conversation. I'm sorry, I whisper. I blame myself every day for what's happened, and I don't know what it'll take for you to forgive me. My eyes begin to sear with hot tears. Just time, she says softly. I shake my head. It's been years. I stare up at her with glassy eyes, and her impenetrable defenses start to fracture. She can't look at me anymore. I've forgiven you, she says quietly, but I can't forget what your choices have done to this family. You almost collapsed your father's entire business, and it's taken a long time to reestablish the reputation we once had. It's just messy, Lily. She won't look up at me. Look up. Tears spill down my cheeks. Mom, it raises her eyes for a second, and I say, I'm sick. Her penciled eyebrows twitch and her lips part at my words. I wait for her defensive nature to arise, but she won't. She's most affected by me than I thought she'd be, staying silent. When I was little, I begin, I had sex because it made me feel like I was worth something. Because every time I was at home, I felt worthless. My chin trembles. I'm not trying to blame you. I take responsibility for everything I've done. But there was a piece of me that craved something more, and I was desperately trying to find it. I fiddle with my fingers. Sex made me feel better. Not whole, but better. I've rehearsed this speech 1,000 times in my head. I've imagined her reaction a million different ways, some indifferent, others warm and apologetic. Standing here now, I wonder which one I'll meet, which reality is mine. Her eyes have reddened. I don't understand. Her voice cracks. I'm sorry. I can't tell if she's apologizing for her confusion or more than that. You used to fawn over Poppy, Rose, and Daisy. I thought you liked being with your father more, she says, skimming a finger beneath her eye, skillfully not smudging her mascara. We loved taking you to Fizzle's office, and Lauren was your best friend. We gave you so much. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, Lily. Water drips down my cheeks. Maybe our perceptions of our lives are too disjointed to ever fit together. Maybe we all think too differently to bridge at a common point. Do you love me? I ask. She suddenly steps closer and hugs me like a motherly embrace that I've seen her share with Daisy all the time. The one where she wraps her arms around me, placing a hand on my back. Her lips are near my ear as she says, I've always loved you, Lily. You're my daughter. She draws back and brushes my tears away, carefully to not poke me with the manicured nails. I'm sorry if I didn't show it in the way you wanted. It's a backhanded apology, but one I cherish very much, partly because I know it may be all I will ever receive. Can we stop punishing me for my mistakes? I ask her, the avalanche of silent tears starting up again. Please? She's crying. Her hands falls, and she's no longer attempting to dam her waterworks. She nods tensely. You were always too shy when you were little. I thought it was better to let you be. I just wanted to know that you cared. I do care about you, she says, strongly touching her chest. I'm sorry for things I may have said in the past. I was hurt. She has this look in her eye that says, I want things to be different. I do too. For so long I've wanted that, but we both just never confronted each other until now. Years. It took years for this moment to occur. She strokes my short hair and asks, what can we do to make this better? Her arms is still around me. She sniffs loudly, something unladylike, but I've never seen my mother cry this much. I think all this time we've just been viewing the same story through opposite lenses. My picture wasn't hers, and even now we're not seeing exactly the same portrait, but at least it's in the right frame. Like I want to cry. You could hear my voice changing while I was reading that. Now, I just gave away so much. My videos have a lot of spoilers because it's very hard for me to do reaction videos without giving context. I've just never done that. I'm not a good person for that. So if these videos are not for you, I'm so sorry. I hope you like the other videos on my channel, but I am a spoiler person because I like to give the story and it's really hard for me not to. Hence, a lot of things in these books I have not given away, but a lot of them are smaller. This was a huge giveaway, huge, and I hope you take that with what it is. And if you have never read this series, you are probably highly confused at what I just said unless you've watched my other read with me, so you may not know all the situations that Rosa's mom has been in. But what just happened shows that her mom is actually human, that she does have a redeemable quality that I never ever thought that I would see or say out loud. But it's there, and it just happened. It took multiple books to get there, but we did. Now I want to see how their relationship continues, how their family dynamic changes, if it will. I don't think that her mom's going to change, but I think that the relationship that she has with Lily is going to change. So I'm very excited to see that in the coming books. And I know that there are definitely going to be some things that I'm not going to still like in the coming future, but I know that this right here was pivotal for me and for Lily. Although I'm very, very proud, what Lo is saying is highly true. I listened to what Samantha had to say to Lily, and honestly, it was ass backwards. Samantha should have apologized to Lil first. She should have admitted to treating her differently, her other daughters, but she just doesn't get it. I don't think she ever will, which is highly true. But what just happened is a huge step, and I know Lily is accepting that. And all of their parents have some very toxic traits, so you just have to accept them as they are, and it's hard because it's their children, so they have to accept that. And if they want to have a relationship with their parents, and they don't want to cut them off because they are good people deep down, but they have some issues to work out. Although Rose is having so many conflicting thoughts and feelings about her sex addiction, this is what she says to herself. I'm proud of myself, and it's a weird thing to be. I revel in this triumph. I'm nearing the last stretch of a long, bumpy road, bruised from falling, but still running. It feels good. I know, Lily. I know it does. The more and more I read Lauryn Hill's perspective, the more and more I see how much he's changing, that his father brought to this group about having to take a position and no one wanted it. Not decided whether or not I believe fully if this is something Lauren has decided that he really honestly truly wants to do, and not something that's going to become a burden to him, or something that he's worried is going to ruin his sobriety yet again. Get a few more, get a little bit deeper into it before I fully commit to feeling that he's okay with this, that he really wants it, and he's not just taking it so everyone else doesn't have to deal. But this right here is really pushing me towards, I want this now. That even though this may not be the career I ever wanted, it's something that I wanted to stay away from as long as possible. Maybe it's something that he can turn into good, and although he didn't want it at first, he'll really, really want it and actually find enjoyment in it. The moment I step near, they break for me. Seas of people create paths just so that I can pass through. I've never been anything more than a nuisance. I expect glares to drill into me, but they just nod and smile. It's been like this all night. I feel different, older, stronger. I carry more confidence in my gait, and I wonder if all this time I just needed to believe in myself, and then I'd receive this response. It overwhelms me in ways I can't explain. This is solidifying it more and more and more for me. I decided early on that I won't lie for anything anymore. It's not healthy. It's not worth the pain. And if I want to live my life as a better, more whole person, this is what I have to do. It's like I can breathe with every sentence. I am no longer dreading my future. For the first time, I yearn for tomorrow and cherish yesterday and live for today. It's peace that no one will ever take from me. Yes, Lo. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you.
I just couldn't find a reason why you do that, he pauses, when I'd given you so much. I blame the wind as my father finally admits to blaming me. The pain wells like a pit in my ribs. I'm sorry. I barely croak. He shakes his head and his reddened eyes meet mine. Don't be. I felt betrayed and hurt because I couldn't face the reality. He gives me a saddened smile. And I'm for half my life working for my daughters, to provide you with a better life than I had. And it's a very hard realization to admit that what I worked so hard for ended up doing the inverse of what I dreamed. I shake my head. He blames himself for my addiction. Tears threaten to fall. I try desperately to suppress them. He shakes my hand in his and says, You've been my shy little girl for so long. I should have recognized that you weren't all there. As an adult, as a parent, and as your father, I am so sorry. Hot liquid rolls down my cheeks. Thank you, I whisper, sniffling and blinking back more tears. First her mom, now her dad, because it's close to the end. And this is their last book in their series, so I think that they're trying to close up all these loose ends. But since that were the pillars standing still, the kind of people that others may be able to lean on. Earlier in the book, there was a scene where Rose and Connor decide to leave their big, huge master bedroom on the main floor of their home and move up to a guest room on the second level of the home that all six of them share, because they started to feel out of what was going on with the other two couples, because they're so close, because they're technically like in the same family, like the Hale family basically. Both have Calloway sisters, so left out, so they decided to move up. And thought and words that were said out loud between Lily and Lo were the popular ones, were the couple that everyone goes to. And this right here reminded me so much of that. And technically it's true in the series because this series started because of them. The Calloway sisters series wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the Addicted series. Y'all, I really, really, really freaking hate this because I'm not going to say what it is, but just know that I hate this so much that I had to put this video in here knowing that I'm not going to give any information on it. So half of this book, things that I might have commented on, I'm not, because it's the one thing that I'm not giving away. But this hurts so bad. And it sucks because this person is so innocent, has no control over anything that's happening. And for this, I really, really hope that it gets squashed. I really, really, really do. And I'm sure that we're going to find out within the next chapter or two because that's where it's headed. But it's really freaking sad. And just the fact that people are so bored that they have to make up this kind of content that hurts other people. Like, these are real people's lives that you're messing with. I know that being a journalist or paparazzi is your job and you need to make money. There's also a morality line. And a lot of those people that are in those positions from this book cross that line. And it seems like they don't even freaking care. How fucking long have you been lying to me? My face twists with too much pain. I get it. I get relapsing. I am a master at it. I also understand pretending and lying. It eats at a vital piece of you, but it rips the people you love apart. I am at the mercy of it. I am on the other end, shreds of a former self. What Reich and Lo's father promised them that he would do, he failed. I mean, it happens, but now I'm scared that he's not gonna try again. And being an alcoholic, it's always gonna be there. There's always a chance that you're always gonna relapse. So this is really hard for them, and he's been lying for a while about it, and it makes me feel really mad. And Reich is seething with pure anger. Dang. I had so much high hope. So it seems like Reich and Lo's father kind of backtracked. I mean, I know he still has good intentions and he loves his children, but he expresses it as just so toxic and just wrong. And now I understand why this is happening. He's doing this for a reason, and although it's a sad reason and it's bad and he's handling it the wrong way, he's handling it because he's scared and because he's human. I never flinch or give him the easy road because I love him. I love him, so I'm going to give him the hard road, the better one, like Reich always did with me. You look different, my dad says. Fear flashes in his eyes, the most human thing I've ever witnessed from him. I'm older, I remind him. He shakes his head just as Lily had done before. It's not that, son, he says in a whisper. I know, I feel different. He sniffs loudly, controlling his emotions. Then a minute or two later, my dad finally shuffles to his desk, crouches behind a drawer, and I hear bottles clink together. He emerges with 4 handles of whiskey. My alcoholic father, who has spent more days with liquor than without, tosses his whiskey in a nearby trash bin, and he walks away from them, heading towards me. So the exact observation that Lily made and said to him, you're different, and you knew what she was thinking, that he had grown, he was a different person. Physical, it was all mental. His dad is realizing and seeing the same exact thing, and that makes me really happy and just shows that everything, again, this entire book is a huge part of it is about Lo growing up and becoming an adult and finding himself and the good and healthy parts and forgiving himself and understanding that a lot of things aren't his fault, and he does not deserve a lot of things that he had to deal with or things that have been said to him. And wow, what I've tried to express in the other books when it comes to Reich and Lo's relationship and why it took them so long to come together and stop fighting so much and stop thinking that one or the other hates each other or is nervous that they're going to lose each other. The authors just summed it up real quick. I'm saying the wrong things. Christ, what do I say? Reich's not me. He doesn't think like me. He never has. It's why we've had too many fights. Why it took years to build our relationship. We're always on separate pages, different chapters of the same story. And now I'm sad. I really hope it works out because Reich's fears are valid. I understand I would probably have the same fear or that thought in the back of my head, even if the other person never has those same thoughts or never goes to that low and never winds up feeling those feelings, it's always still going to be there, because you can't know what the other person's feeling. Not really, not truly.
Guys, I'm so happy. Sid and Lo both own a business together, and teenagers come in acting a fool, and come to find out these are the same teenagers that live in their neighborhood that's been torturing them for months on end. So Reich and Lo go and sit over at their table and are talking to them and options and like just being honest with them. That's my shoulder. I'm really fucking proud of you. It takes me aback for a moment, and I breezed through the previous conversation. I wasn't malicious or hateful or vindictive. I didn't treat those teenagers how my father would have treated them. I was just honest. Oh my God. And see, and yet another person saying something to Lo about him growing, about him being a better person than he once was, because they see past everything that's been going on with the teenagers. I know how I said that what's been happening is horrible, and I am so pissed off and angry about it, but the way that they are handling it is so much better than a lot of people could. He was as a person prior. It's maybe surprising to some how he's handling the situation, but he also has a closer experience to it because he knows what the guys are going through, because he's been there once. So he's trying to give them a better out than he did. He's trying to give them a better experience, and that way they don't make as many mistakes as he did. I was so right. I knew it. So this is another thing that I'm not going to say, but someone has been looking for Reich and has been going to the store to try and find them. Store manager lets Lily and Lo know that this girl has been coming around and really wants to see Lo, and only Lo. She's been sitting there, and then obviously Ro comes down to take care of the boys, and she's in the lobby, and she comes up behind him and just talks to him, and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And I'm so freaking excited because it's been so long. It's been years, but obviously just months for me from when this happened. And holy crap, I can't believe this is happening. I'm so freaking excited to see how, I want to know how this happened, why this happened, and how it ends. Y'all, that is the sweetest thing ever. I'm so proud of Reich. It's like the beginning of the series, and we're kind of starting over from how Reich was treating Lo, and now Lo is helping out this girl, and it's basically the same thing that Reich did for him, except for this girl doesn't have an addiction problem or anything like that. Stop looking that. But he's still, oh, you guys, that is the sweetest thing ever. I am so happy and excited. I can't believe that this is happening. Lo is taking a stand, and he is being like the big brother instead of the little brother this time, and he is, oh God, so much different than he was. And I love seeing how much growth he has in this book. Like, it makes me want to cry. Like, I'm not kidding. My eyes are watering right now, and the smile is so big on my face because he's changed so much, and he's become such a great man and a huge person. And he even says in the book multiple times when a situation arises, he goes, well, I would have done this if it was then, or I would have done that instead of this, what I'm doing right now. And it's so surreal to me, and I'm so happy that we're finally here, and that it's like a 360 from who Lo was. He still struggles. He's always going to struggle, but knowing the person and the man that he's grown into, it makes my heart flutter. Y'all, I'm just over here eating my popcorn dinner, chugging along, just reading as lines come, and this pops up. October 10th. He says the date with a growing smile. Do y'all know what October 10th is to me? Do you want to know what October 10th is in my life? October 10th is the day my daughter was born. October 10th is my daughter's birthday. She was born October 10th of 2022. I'm so excited, and this date is so significant to them, to their relationship, to them as a couple, and I can't believe this is happening for them on my kid's birthday, the day that I birthed my first child. I knew there was going to be some kind of significance in this book that related to me, and this is the biggest one, in my opinion, because, like, that's the biggest event that has ever happened to me in my life. My wedding day, my wedding anniversary is just 5 days after that. I got married on October 15th of 2020. And it's the same day my husband and I started dating, was October 15th of 2019. We got married on our 3-year dating anniversary. And today is September 15th. So it's exactly 1 month from October 15th. Yeah. They've been to hell and back for each other, and I know they'd both be willing to take a second trip if they had to. Reich and Lo's relationship is so much different and so much better and has come so far since the series started, and I'm so proud of that, and I love this. And the fact, just the situation that the two brothers are in, and the fact that Reich is in a Lo, and and Lo's able to help him out of that, or try and help him out of that, and try and convince him that everything's going to be okay and not the other way around. It's huge. And Lo has always wanted to be there for his brother, just like he was for him, but he never had the chance because he never felt strong enough, and he is strong enough. And he's finally seeing that and admitting that and getting there, and it's a beautiful thing to read. I don't know how this ends yet, but the teenagers took it to another fucking level that's insane, and it makes everyone feel completely unsafe. It doesn't matter if they're teenagers or not. Teenagers are brutal, and hell, literally a month ago, 2 teenagers in a high school in my town were fighting, and because one lost and he was mad about it, pulled out a gun on the other one and shot him. Like, teenagers are dangerous. Like, this book keeps saying that they're not, which some may be harmless. Hell, any human being can be extremely dangerous. They don't like themselves, so they're taking that on other people. That's what bullies do, so they're being bullies. Think that their intent is to physically hurt someone. Now, I may be completely wrong, but I don't have their perspectives, and I didn't write the book, so I have no idea if that is or not. But what I've seen so far, that doesn't make me think that. But they've taken it to another level where terrified. And Daisy is even more terrified than she's ever been because this is happening. And they're messing with their livelihood, with their home. They're trespassing. They're breaking in. There are other factors to this that just makes it so not okay in so many fucking ways. And it's finally gotten to this point, and law enforcement involved, and I really hope that something good comes out of this. And it sucks that this has to happen on freaking a birthday, like one of their birthdays. Like, that's so fucked up. And this Lo is expressing to Lily right now exactly what I said earlier about him being similar to them. We have to make sure they don't escape, Lil, he says quickly. This ends tonight. Tears sting my eyes. I'm not leaving you, I croak. Lo whispers rapidly. They're not going to kill me, love. They're just teenagers. Yeah, okay. My chin quivers. That's what I thought, but the more I think about it, Lily, he forces my name so I understand. They're just like me. I can't say that Lo would have never done this. If pushed to the breaking point, he might have. If drunk enough, likely would have too. You're not like them anymore, I tell him. Which is extremely true and very valid, and which is one of the reasons why I don't think that their intent is to physically hurt somebody, partly because of that statement that was said, because Lo resonates with them so much because he was that teenager, because he did do that, and he didn't physically fight anyone like that unless it came to it. He fought with his words and with pranks and physically assault anybody, and him comparing himself to these teenagers makes me think that it's a very similar situation. Which I want to hate them, but I can't. I hate their choices. I hate that they've broken into my house and terrified everyone, but I can't hate them. That shows so much growth in Lo. He's crying. His eyes redden as tears streak his face. If I was more callous, I'd feel good right about now. I'd feel justified in his pain. He fucked with us for a while. He deserves this, right? But the pity that services belongs to a guy who's been there, who's hated everyone and everything, who just wanted to go and drown. I didn't want them to choose this, but I will never have another night like tonight. There will never be another shadow passing through our hallway. No amount of empathy will change my mind. You go, Lo. And here it is. Lo, I say softly. Yeah. An addict will always be an addict. There is no changing that, I think. He's so quiet that I end up peeking at him with one eye. He stares at me with such intensity, stealing my breath. Did you ever dream that we'd be cured or something, he asked. My other eye opens. No, I whisper. Did you? He shakes his head. I knew from the beginning that we'd be addicted after all. Addicted after all. That's the name of this book. That's the name of the book. They do this in every book, I think. In every single book I think I've read. where close, like almost to the very end of the book, in one of the last chapters, they put in a sentence that someone's saying the title of the novel. And I love it. I love that they do that. His amber eyes bore straight through me. I just didn't know whether we'd be in a better place than we were before. We are. I don't even have to say the words. He knows the answer to. We're in the best place we've ever been, reaching a status together. It's beautiful up here, and even if I fear falling, it's nice to know I've been down that road before, and I can always walk to the top again. Lo leans over to kiss me tenderly on the lips, a chaste kiss, but one full of lifelong promise. I let it guide me to sleep. These past 10 months living with you have been some of the best of my life. Being the youngest, I've always felt left out, and you both managed to include me, even while you're going through what you're going through. She smiles a sad smile. I want you both to know that I love you so much. I feel like this book is like, it's ending just like I feel like Thrive could have been the last book in the series. So could Addicted, after all, even though it is the last book in the Addicted series. Because I feel like it's closing up so many loose ends. I'm really excited to see how their lives continue. I find this highly adorable. The scene in this book where they're all making social medias, which honestly is a big deal because they all were like, no social media. They are always under the scrutiny and under the limelight of the paparazzi and reporters and whatnot. So it just wasn't smart. But after what happened to them, Lily had posted an update about everything that was happening, and she was quoted as a legitimate source on actual news stations. So, in their words, they're taking control back. And although they know that they're never going to get away from bad media, it's not fully going to go away. They're always going to have haters. They're always going to have people that are going to want to tear them down. They do have fans, and they say that as well, and that's a big part as well. And anybody who is an influencer or in the media or famous, no matter the cause, no matter why you were brought into it, or having that definitely helps. And I love that they're getting to this place. I'm so freaking proud of you, Lily. So what does us being on social media fucking mean exactly? Right, ass. I think he knows. He just wants someone to say it. I speak up first. We can't try to hide anymore. I nod resolutely. It's ironic coming from the girl who used to be a hermit, who shied away from attention and cameras, but using social media, we're now cementing a future in the public eye. No takebacks. But if we're going to be under spotlight, I'd much rather do it on my terms than someone else's. Maybe then we'll have a fighting chance at protecting blank and blank and blank. We all have a bigger voice now. No one can steal that from us. Amen, sis. The only part that sucks for me is because I am a person who likes every single part of the story, detail-oriented person, and it's really hard for me not to have the whole story, and that's why I go off on tangents a lot, and a lot of people are like, Shayna, I don't want you to tell me a story. It's going to take 20 minutes instead of 5, and that's because I tell every single detail, and probably why most of my YouTube videos about these daggone books are long in general, because I can't not say everything that happens because I feel like it's confusing. I feel like someone can come back and say such and such and such to me. There are things in this book that happened that Lily and Lo did not see. They were not there for conversations. They weren't there to see certain situations that happened. And I hate the fact that I can't see those. And it's harder for me in this situation with these books because I was able to get and to know what happened in certain situations because you got every single perspective from every single one of these in their books, and it all happened in the same time frame. That Thrive happened in the same time frame that Hot House Flower and Kiss the Sky did. So you got all 6 perspectives in that exact same time. We don't get this here, and I don't know if we'll ever find out because I don't know if the other books are going to cover it or not. I guess I'll find out, but that is the only part that I really don't like. But that's just something I'll have to get over. I don't like open-ended things. I don't like loose ends. I like closure, and that's just me. No way. Y'all, it worked. Lowe's talking, Lowe's not calling the cops, Lowe's not being horribly mean, not stooping to the level, being an adult, being a man, and being the person that he's grown up to be, saved one of these damn teenagers. God, like, you have no idea the effect you are having right now. And the good kind. Exactly. Not enough, you know? It's not at all. This was enough, I tell him softly. I promise it was. I can't even imagine Lo finding his way here at 17, saying these guttural, painful things to absolve himself. Lauryn Hill walked in agony for another half-decade. He'd be happy to learn that he saved someone from that today. Go, Lo! Oh my god, and literally the same thing that I said earlier, the same that Lily observes so well, and that she just knows when someone is together or is going to be together. And two people that just met, I know are one of the spin-off books of this series. Lily. I give up. Maybe in another life I was Cupid and foretold every relationship there ever was. I smile at that thought. I prophesied them all except my very own. All true. Flo is quoting his therapist, something that I quoted in a video prior, because I'm so happy that this stayed with him, because it stayed with me, because it is so freaking important and so true. I stared dazedly at the table. My therapist told me something once. He said, sometimes the person we think will become is the person we already are, and the person we truly become is the person we least expect. Yes! That's where he is. Excitement and elation and all of that is just, it's not enough. It does not describe what I'm feeling right now in this chapter. I can't believe this is happening. They're getting their happy ending. Y'all, no, this is a perfect ending. Connor remains stoic, his grin genuine and heartfelt. You have both spent years praising all of us for our talents and our strengths, but you were too blinded by your own foils to even realize how much we've revered you. For years, we've watched you fight for this future for each other, and you've conquered a larger battle in your lifetime than most of us will ever come to see. You are our heroes, and today we are grateful to celebrate your love and your life together. The sweetest thing ever. Oh my god. Freaking paragraph is the sweetest thing ever, but I don't want to read it out loud because it's too much of a spoiler. One spoiler that I'm not willing to give away, but just know that it has hit my heart, and to the point where I had to come on and say something about it, even though I'm not giving it away. The epilogue of this book is getting us ready for the spin-off series after the Calloway Sister series is over, or I'm not really sure what the timeline is, but I know that those books, like, you don't read those books while you're reading this series and the Calloway Sister series together, but it definitely is getting you prepared for that. What just came out of his mouth? This book really is tying up all those ends and giving you like the happiest ending. I'm not kidding, because they're like showing everything for every single couple, future couples, for their future. I'm gonna lose it. Yep, and I knew this. I absolutely knew that the event that happened to them was what was going to affect them the most, and actually helped Lo grow up the most. I believe that wholeheartedly, and without this happening, I don't think he would have grown or have come as far as he has. It's been easy, or it's been this magic solution to my problems. Sometimes it's made things worse, overwhelmed me, but it shook me, it woke me up. I paused, and somewhere in my head I tightened the things that been coming loose. I know they can always unscrew again. I know that I could relapse down the line, but I'm not looking at the worst parts of my life anymore, focusing on the best thing I have, and there are a whole hell of a lot of those. Yes, Lo, there is. Lily and I may have started our relationship as pretend, but for as long as I can remember, our love has always been real. And that's the end. That's everything besides the bonus material in Addicted After All, the last book in the Addicted series. I am so happy. I am overjoyed and just overwhelmed with the entire book and all of its contents. Just them growing up, happy ending, facing their fears, and then coming out on the other end. What their thoughts were in the first couple of books compared to this book is just like a 360. Now, they're always going to be addicts. She said it herself, and we all know this. But they're so much stronger than they once were, and they know that they're going to get through this. Just comparing the first book to this one, it's like I want to cry. It's the most amazing feeling in the entire freaking world. I highly recommend the Addicted series and the Calloway Sister series. I still have 2 more books in the Calloway Sister series, and then the last book that has everyone's perspective. I'm so excited for that one. Some kind of perfect, and I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the Addicted series read along. We have officially finished it. This feeling is so bittersweet because I can't believe that it is over, but I know that I'm happy that they all got to this place that they are. And meet me in my next video where we will start off the next to the last book of the Calloway Sister series. Thank you guys so much. I love y'all. See you guys in the next one. Bye.